Vanity. The sharp blast of the factory horn shattered the intense hum of machinery. For a brief moment, silence reigned, only to be replaced by a chaotic uproar. The textile factory, home to nearly 1,000 workers, suddenly resembled a cage of frantic birds, all rushing toward the exit. Their boss, Domingo, was known for his fairness and kindness. He genuinely cared about the well-being of his employees. The 1930s had begun on a rough note, but he remained optimistic. Despite the turbulent political climate, he remained confident the factory would endure. The livelihood of every worker depended on the factory's success. Domingo's small office was near the exit, right beside the staircase leading to the street. The end of the workday was the worst part of his day. The moment the horn sounded, his heart began to race. This was the time accidents happened. Since the factory opened, not a single week had passed without someone getting injured on those cursed stairs. It was as if they were racing, each desperate to be the first to reach the street. Inevitably, someone would trip, fall, or sprain an ankle. Aside from his deep concern for the well-being of his employees, his own bosses were unhappy with the situation. No one would want to work at their factory if stories kept circulating about frequent workplace injuries. They demanded a solution, otherwise he would have to find a new job. Domingo had tried everything. First, he tried staggering departures, allowing workers to leave in small groups, but even with just 10 people at a time, someone always got hurt. Besides, it was impractical. He couldn't extend departures for 2 hours. Then he introduced a short break before closing to reduce the rush, but it made no difference. The moment the final bell rang, the frenzy resumed. He racked his brain for a solution. He even considered installing a ramp for the employees to slide down instead of using the stairs, but that seemed excessive. Nothing worked. Then one day, inspiration struck. While shopping at a store, Domingo stood near a large glass window examining some vegetables. He noticed a woman outside who appeared to be looking at him. Pleased, he smiled, only to realize she wasn't looking at him at all, but at her own reflection in the glass. Feeling foolish, he quickly turned away. But then curiosity took over, and he observed the street more closely. To his surprise, nearly everyone who passed by the window paused briefly to glance at their reflection before continuing on their way, noticeably calmer. The idea seemed a bit ridiculous, and he didn't want to share it with his bosses. There was no way of knowing if it would work, but he had to give it a shot. Domingo purchased a giant mirror with his own money. It wasn't easy to find, and it was expensive. All that time, he had felt like a crazy person, betting on a solution that might not solve the situation at all. The following Saturday, he had a large mirror installed along the staircase wall. By the next Friday, he was astounded. An entire week had passed without a single accident. He had watched as workers instinctively slowed down upon seeing their reflection, adjusting their posture, fixing their hair, or simply admiring themselves before proceeding carefully down the stairs. Vanity might be a sin, but in this case it had been the perfect solution. Sitting behind his desk, Domingo smiled proudly. Now he couldn't wait to meet with his bosses and hear their praise.